Everyone already knows that the Cosmic Fury season is going to be the last season of this facet that we had for 30 years. After this we will have a reboot of the whole franchise, but we don't know when we will start seeing the first images of this reboot. Many still think that there is no reboot, but the reality is that this started since Hasbro bought the franchise. What they did was create the Beast Morphers and Dino Fury seasons to complete the 30 years of the franchise, since they obviously knew that doing this was going to leave them with a lot of money. If the company started a reboot without completing the 30 years, then they were going to lose that epic moment that would bring such an important celebration to the franchise. Now, with all this momentum created by the franchise's 30th anniversary celebration, Hasbro can start with a better pace and with more fan support. Even though they have that advantage, still, there are a lot of things we need to talk about first before starting this reboot. There are many questions and answers that are scarce. For now we only know that supposedly, everything is in process. This is the same thing that the new producers of the franchise have said, and we know that sometimes this phrase is used to shut the mouths of the press and the fans. We don't know if in fact the reboot is in process or if it is stopped, since for now many projects are stopped due to the strike that is happening in Hollywood. Even so, we must be positive that someday all that will be solved and the process for the creation of all the stopped projects will continue. According to several rumors on the internet, there will be some changes in this reboot that are quite drastic, and this is something obvious, since, if they want to lift the franchise, then they must make a big change. As we have said in other videos, every franchise has its essence, and this is what the producers must protect for the Power Rangers reboot to be a success. One of the rumors we have read is about changing the Zords, as they supposedly want to reduce the appearances of these battle machines and only use them when it is very necessary. We must remember that for 30 years the Power Rangers were using scenes from the Japanese series, and all the Zord battles were from Japan. Even for the new season of the Cosmic Fury, the Zord scenes also come from the Japanese series, even though this season is going to be separate from the Sentai. Why did they keep using the scenes from Japan despite wanting to create an original series? Simple, it's all about money, since creating the Zord scenes is very expensive and takes a lot of time. To create these scenes, they must decide if they are going to film professionals in the Megazord's costume or if they are going to create everything in CGI. Both ways cost a lot of money and time, plus in both cases you can have bad results. For example, when they did the special episode, the producers decided to go the CGI route, and even though it looked pretty good, the animation was not of a high level. This was a very negative point for that production, since that Megazord battle is highly anticipated. Obviously, this only happened with the Megazord because the Zords separately were spectacular, even the best I've seen in the history of the franchise. According to what the producer of this special episode said, they decided to use CGI since they had little time and little budget to use the way of filming a real suit. To create this scene, they would have to find a very large space to create the set design, which was basically the floor of the moon, and possibly the background would have been a green screen, and then replace it with the sky with stars. It sounds like an easy task, but it really isn't, as this would have taken a long time and it would have been a very difficult process to create everything. Still, we know that possibly this would have been the best way, since if they can't invest in a high-level CGI, then filming with real costumes would have had a better result. As we talked about in the videos about this special episode battle, the CGI we can use to compare the Power Rangers Zords is the CGI from Transformers. These movies have incredible effects, the animation of the robots is very good, and everything looks real. We know that the budget that these movies have is very high, and this is why it is possibly better to film the scenes of the Zords, because if they do not have a very high budget to create these battles, in the end they are going to have a less impressive result. This is an important point for the reboot, since we don't know if they are going to have a big budget to invest large amounts of money in the production of the new Power Rangers universe. If Hasbro is willing to invest large amounts of money, then we could say that Power Rangers can become a great rival for any superhero franchise. This franchise has everything it needs to compete with any superhero franchise, as the Power Rangers stories have several combined elements that not all franchises possess. In the Power Rangers there is the Multiverse, which is something quite complex, and this is why many franchises have not utilized it. In addition to this, the Multiverse is something that few know how to use, and, in this franchise, they have taken it to another level in the comics. This is why many fans keep asking for the comics to be adapted to the TV series, and we are all hopeful that this can happen in the reboot. This is another of the topics that has been discussed for the reboot of the franchise, since according to the information that there is for now, they want to make the new TV series for an adult audience. We have talked about this many times, since for a long time the Power Rangers is not being supported by the children audience, and those who are holding the franchise are the adults. All of us adults who grew up watching this series are the ones who support this franchise, and this is why they are going to change everything. Because of this change is why they also must change the Zords, because the adult fans are not happy with the Zords we have right now. We know that these Zords that we had in many seasons were created with the purpose that they would later function as toys, and this is why the Zords are colorful. The Zords that you must build for the new facet of the Power Rangers must look real, fierce, and dangerous machines. These Zords should have a metallic texture, they should show wear and tear from all the battles, and obviously not look like a video game. The animation of these robots must be the most important thing to make these battles look real, and we know that all this is going to cost a lot of money. That is why the investment part is very important, because with this we will know if we are really going to deliver high-quality Zords. I can honestly say that even though the 2017 movie had some terribly designed Zords, they still looked great due to their texture, lighting, and the animation. If the Megazord from the special episode would have had the texture, lighting, and animation of the Zords in this movie, then we would have had the best Zord of all time, and that's exactly what we're hoping for in the reboot. Write in the comments your favorite Zord, like this video and subscribe to know more about the Power Rangers.